In fact, as Andre's lawyer was to find, Emeryville had acted illegally by not allowing Andre 7 days' notice of abatement, by striking in surprise, by never doing previous inventory on what possessions of his they were moving. The lawyer was able to get a few signatures from neighboring witnesses. He tells Andre he will probably not win emotional damage, though Andre can surely be paid for material damage. That in itself must be a fortune. The many simple tools were stolen, and the ones the workmen could not understand, like an X-ray machine to detect flaws in metal, were all smashed. The lawyer says it will be an easy suit to win, though it will take years. Emeryville will hire expensive lawyers, lose, and collect from the taxpayers.
On the early days of it was the Amato. Yeah. I think it was March 2001. I want to say, because I think they did their 2000 was when they did the rest of it. So that was the first time I had met you. Was that the first time you had met Carl and the rest of the group?
I think so. Probably.
Good. What? How did they rope you in? I guess. Do you remember?
Yeah, I had trouble. Well, Carl went class somehow. I was paying attention to some of these people, and I enjoyed him. Tough guy. He was amusing. What is your name?
Fred. You can call me Red. Either way.
Oh, Fred. Yep. Right. Okay.
Yep.
I recognize. Yeah.
We're all 20 years older, I guess.
Yeah.
So Jack Saunders was at that show as well. He's no longer with us, but there were quite a few people there. Yes. And you were living in Texas then, and they brought you into New York for the show.
Yes, that is true.
Yeah. What do you remember about that show? What were your thoughts on it?
Oh, well, you had different people who would get up and perform, so to speak. I mean, some of them were really more performing, but in any case, just different people, individuals. One which struck me was this girl who entirely did nothing but act like she was in a play. She did nothing but perform, and that was kind of interesting. But in any case,
that probably was Ann Sturzinger, is my guess. She was at that show as well, one of the founding members.
Oh, yeah. The name is familiar, but I don't remember. I'm not very good at remembering these things, details and so forth.
Yeah, no worries. And then what else did you do with the group? I know you were at the Detroit reading as well. I think it was the following year,
yes, in fact,
2002.
Yeah, I believe I was guest of honor at that one. But yeah, Detroit, I managed to get up there. So I met Win Class and a couple of other people. Anyways, so it goes.
Right. I think you were in this. Had something published in the slush pile that we used in the anthology later on, and you probably were on the blog. Pat King and I used to do that. That's why I agreed to do this with him, because it was a lot of fun doing the blog with him. He had published excerpts. And you were mainly, I think, doing still Last Laugh at that time. And you were working with Lisa Falor as well. You guys did like a combo zine.
Yeah, we'd become correspondents, friends. I never did meet her in person. But we corresponded until she passed on.
Yes. Yeah, she was in Paris, I think, at that point.
Real life, real life. In the meantime, this morning I roused Joachim again. Peace, the guy from yesterday. I hope you will accept a pup of ladies. I don't care if you stole her or not. Some people speak well of you in the park. Joachim mumbled responses, but all I got to was the bottoms of his boots protruding from his blanket. Would you accept a puppy? Yeah. Father is this Chow Husky Siberian Husky, one of those little huskies crossed with Chow. Good dog. Look, Joachim, I'm putting my number by your boots here. Okay. She'll have him in a couple of weeks. So in a couple of months I can give you the pick of the litter, male or female, whatever you like. I had felt bad about bullying the kid, scaring the shit out of him, ruining his day. Just one of the homeless. Poor kid needs a good dog. He had taken good care of Lady. She likes him.
Yeah, I just became a writer because I could do nothing else. I thought maybe I could eventually make a living as a writer, which never has happened, of course.
It's real difficult for sure. It seems like people read less, or at least it isn't as central to the culture as it once was. Um, and then being an
Yeah,
underground writer,
I suppose they are reading less, but there's always some people who read and write, and there always will be, I believe, because it's hard to do more than the written word. Once you get something down there, that's
right.
solid material.
Are you still doing some writing today?
Hardly at all. I've pretty well stopped everything I was doing. I'm just floating around.
Sort of retired.
I mean, yeah, for a while I did a lot of writing in letters. I would do a letter, and then I'd post it to a bunch of people who enjoyed my carrying on with such as that. But eventually I just I faded away. I'm not doing any kind of writing offhand for publication. It's just too hard to do that, and so I gave up. Tales from the Texas Gang. There's a lot of depth in that, and people are always talking about it. And I'll read here and there some stranger mentioning that's their favorite book or something. Surprisingly, a lot of women like Texas Gang. I don't know why surprised, but as many of them as men like Texas Gang. I mean, there's a lot to Texas Gang. It isn't just tough guys.
Right.
It isn't just gunfighters, but it's a fairly funny, dimensional work. That's my favorite, yeah, Texas Gang.
Kevin has kept his chattels, receiving $600 monthly from SSI. From this sum, he gets next to nothing, and he is being swindled of his entity through a maze of bank account. As he says, they know all the tricks. Mrs. Ruby Arbuckle and Miss Paulette Arbuckle are both B of A employees. Kevin is being forbidden to go visit his ill father at the hospital. He is kept out of enough change for bus fare and or basic transportation. He cannot own a bicycle and was denied the popular privilege of learning how to drive. The Arbuckle family possess 4 new cars, bought with his money, and he cannot ride in any one of them, and he is left stranded out on the street. He then hitchhike or ride with friends and neighbors. Because he is kept out of the house, he wanders at loose end, and when stranded at night, he is being taken care of by kindler, gentler neighbors. It is not uncommon to see him chased out of the house by ferocious Paulette. If Kevin complains or makes allusion to his money, they call Big Brother Michael Arbuckle to lay hand and beat him up. See Emeryville Police Report, assault and battery. Kevin wears misfit clothing from secondhand stores, and they complain that he eats too much too often. All they care is my money, he says. As a form of punishment, and anything is an excuse for, he is starved of food, and they threaten to cut him out completely if he knocks on the door and wake up someone like Paul.
How long did you do Last Laugh then? Did you get started with that in the 80s, or as the start of, sounds like a kind of a letter to friends, and then it must have tapped into the zine scene at some
Yeah,
point.
yes, indeed. It's kind of evolved like that.
Did you carve out like any other novels like Emeryville War out of Last Laugh, or is the rest kind of that was the only one?
I think that Emeryville War, yeah, Emeryville War was, I believe, produced as parts of Last Laugh. I think they just came out of Last Laugh. Yeah, because it was such a natural story where this guy is struggling against City Hall in Emeryville, California. They tore his place down. The city illegally ripped up his possessions.
Wow.
So I championed him, talked in places. I'll give talks for him. But in any case, that in itself was quite a story. He was not even breaking laws. He was just defiant, and the city tried to make an example of him. Ripped up his property and stole a boxcar full of his stuff that was out of his yard. They towed it off. It was quite a remarkable story, which they made for the Emeryville War. It was a war. It was quite something.
Yeah, I really like that book. That's a great book.
Oh, yeah. So you have read that, yeah?
Oh yeah, I've read it more than once. That's a great book.
Yeah, it is.
And it sounds like it works as a novel, but it sounds like it's almost a memoir in some way of that time you were spending there.
Yeah, but it's absolutely true that I've altered nothing at all. It didn't have to be, I changed it all. It's moves like a novel.